Hi Kurt, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Sam.
Good, good. Want to ask you a few questions about your E-Type, if that's okay.
Yeah, far away.
How long have you had it?
It'll be 4 years in August.
And have you used it much? Did you do much miles?
Yeah, so I bought the car from Malta. So I've done about 3,000 miles.
This was in the Maltese Top Gear, wasn't it? They did a full feature on it.
Potted history on this car and the E-Type in general. So this car was out of Sturgis in Leicester in 1973. So it's a 72 build car, and there's a couple of ways you can tell that. And if you're interested, I'll show you. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so this is basically had quite a cosseted life. So bearing in mind, in the mid-late 70s, these were gas guzzling things, and nobody wanted them.
Yeah.
So consequently, they got used and abused. So this one's done about 74,000 miles, and well over half of that was done in its first 4 years.
Right.
But after that, it got bought by doctors, and it got really cosseted. It was a lucky car.
So it's been the second car from quite early on in its life?
I would think so, yeah. Obviously, I don't know those people. But it got exported, which is another lucky thing for it. It got exported to Malta 10, 15 years ago. Actually, the transport minister of Malta owned this car, who's a massive E-Type fan. So when I went to see this car in Malta, it was in this underground heated garage, along with 3 or 4 other E-Types which they was rebuilding.
Well looked after then.
Very well looked after. So, but yeah, so answer your question, I've had it for 4 years and done about 3,000 miles in it.
Okay, fantastic. So you've had some sort of quite practical sympathetic upgrades done to the car mechanically, haven't you? What have you had done?
So the E-Type, so for what date we're on actually, so almost to the day 60 years ago the E-Type came out.
Yeah.
So at first it was developed as a successor to the C-Type and the D-Type. It was basically a race car for the track. This car was developed for the American market. So whilst they made, I don't know, about 8,000 or 9,000 of them, 3 out of 4 of them went to America.
Yeah.
So these were very much designed for long roads, this is why they're quite a lot bigger. They were never designed for really the English roads and tight turns, and when you drive one in standard spec, you'll notice that. They're still good, but they're a bit soft.
A bit wafty.
Bit wafty. So what I did on this one, so Rob Beer is anybody who knows their salt in the race game, so he supplies parts of these. So I've got Rob Beer Coney race suspension on it, so which is adjustable, so it's sort of adjusted halfway at the moment, so it's a little bit firmer, but it's not going to break your spine.
I've driven it and I love it. I love it just the way it is, to be honest.
So while I was doing that, I put the rear suspension on Jaguar is well known. So the springs are sit in the middle, so I've had stiffened springs on as well. By the way, I've got all the original parts so that if anybody ever did want to put it back to stock, I'll see them the other side of the hedge. But then the other thing is these are renowned for. So this has got a racing pedigree. So those Le Mans wins, them very famous silk cut Le Mans wins back in the 80s with the V12 Jaguars. That's the very same power unit that's in this car, but they do run warm.
Famously
run warm. So what I did to help that, so we've won a couple of road trips with it. I put an aluminium radiator. This was turned out with Lucas ignition system, so the upgrade is Opus. So that makes the spark much hotter, which ironically makes the engine run cooler. Yeah. So that's been done. I've also changed the setup of, again, another Rob Beer supply. So the oil filter is now a screw-on oil filter rather than the canister one, which will leak oil all over the garage or give up at any point. The other thing I've done, which again just a small mod, the power steering on these is really light, and that, if you like it that way, great. But I like to have a bit more feel. So I've got an adjustable adjuster on the power steering, which again another Rob Beer development. Yeah. But yeah,
fantastic.
So those. It's got stainless steel exhaust, which was on it when I had it. Yeah.
So we're offering this for auction.
I like it, and I'm looking at it now. I'm thinking about.
You're looking like you don't want to sell it now. That's my worry. I'm trying to move you away from it before you change your mind.
But if the guy, I know these things inside and out. Inside and out. So me and my brother, we're quite boring, and this is what we talk about. So what this car is good at, I challenge you to find an ounce of rust on it. And if you're looking at one...
I like a challenge.
Well,
that's my afternoon sorted out.
If you're ever looking at one, just look under the pedal down here. because the first sign of rust will be where that pedal, which hinges on the floor. I can't get the carpet up. So it hinges on the floor, so you can see it's solid. There's a rot there.
Yeah.
So this hinge here is the first thing to rot, and then that then spreads up to the speed post and then the sills. So
completely solid.
absolutely, completely solid.
Okay, I actually like the original seats as well, Kurt.
Well, that's it.
So the next owner's got the choice of restoring the original or
Well,
I guess replacing if they choose to.
I fumbled around whether to. So, likes of Aldridge Trim, they supply these off the shelves, and it's a job that most DIY guys could do.
Yeah.
Now, once it's done, it's done. Once that leather's in the bin, it's gone. I personally like it like this. So, if I were keeping the car, I would have that panel repaired, and I'd have that, and I'd
Just
leave
the bolsters, yeah.
And then you've still got the old look, and also I'm a tall guy. I don't like having the new sponges in. This is a nearly 50 years of bedding in, and it's just superb.
No, it's personal preference, but what I do like is the car's being sold as it is, so the next owner has the choice.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just show you one more thing. So one of our little trips was to Le Mans. So there you go. So there's our little Le Mans Classic sticker. So we drove this from the Midlands down to Le Mans and back, and it just didn't miss a beat. Went in with convoy with another Series 1 E-Type.
No trouble. 2 E-Types and no trouble. There you go.
The only problem is you're probably only going to get about 20 out of it on a run.
Yeah.
So you are paying fairly frequent visits.
Had you done the upgrades to the cooling system before you set off for that journey?
No, but it went okay. It went okay anyway, but it's an upgrade that I planned when I bought the car anyway. Okay. In fact, that was what inspired me to do, not so much the radiators, but the suspension, because I drove it down there and I just couldn't keep up with the Series 1, because that's more of a race car. This car is now as good as any E-Type.
The thing that struck me when I drove this was that it doesn't drive like you would expect a Series 3 to drive. Knowing the upgrades that you've had on it makes sense now, but it just feels very planted and
absolutely. I mean, if you go around a tight left-hand bend in a standard, you'll have the passenger on your lap, and they do lean, and so. But you've got the choice. So I've got the original radiator for it. If anybody wanted to ever put that on, I've even got the original shock absorbers, which are brand new actually. If anybody wanted to put that on, like I say, I'll see you.
So they're available with the car.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, great. Right. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, by the way, before you go, I've even got the original steering wheel for it as well.
Right. Okay. Again, I think that just comes down to personal taste, really, doesn't it? It's a beautiful car, Kurt, and personally, I think that the upgrades are a welcome addition.
Yeah, sensitive.
Having driven it, yeah.
Sensitive and sensible. 21st century motor.
Yeah, keep up with modern traffic.
So, answered your question.
Yeah. If you could take one home, but not your E-Type, because you can sign that now.
I am going to bid on a couple of things here. I'm not going to tell you for the fear of competition.
Right, thanks very much, Kurt. So we're going to see you here bidding on the day then?
Absolutely, yeah.
Great.
And we'll be here in our professional capacity as well. Me, Linda, and perhaps Dan. So if anybody's up here or around at the time...
You're going to be around for the viewing week as well, aren't you? If anybody wants to have a chat
yeah.
with you about financing
we're
options.
always on the end of the phone, of course.
Great, and obviously all your details are on our website as well if anybody wants to go and have a look. Fantastic, thanks very much.